All righty. Hey, Facebook fam. We are on. Please don't judge us for being late. We're here. So there were some technical difficulties earlier, but so we went live on Instagram, which you can see in the stories. But we just wanted to come onto Facebook because we promised. So we want to keep our commitment to you and provide this information to you also. So who is we? Let me start with me. I am Dr. Sylvia Bollie, and I am a dual board certified obesity expert. I am a healthy lifestyle champion and a great listener, and the owner of Embrace You Weight and Wellness, where we specialize in helping grown women get to their happy, healthy weight through a combination of self love and personalized science through a wellness based strategy. And so that we do that. And I love it. So I am here with Mr. Aaron Henry, and he is going to tell you a little bit about himself.
So my name is Aaron Henry. I'm a men's health coach, physician assistant, and owner of True Guide Health Consulting. And I specialize in helping busy men take control of their weight and health with simple and easy to follow steps. So my background, my path into medicine and into becoming a health coach started in the military, where I served as a combat medic, 2 tours of duty in Iraq.
Thank you for your
Shout out to all the vets out there. And after the military, I decided to become a PA, where over the past 10 years, I've worked in specialties such as emergency medicine, urgent care, primary care. And that experience really showed me just, how preventative diseases like high blood pressure and diabetes are just ravishing our population. And honestly got tired of writing prescriptions for things that can be fixed by eating properly and through physical fitness, and especially through developing the right mindset. So I decided to become a certified health coach with a focus on helping men, because as Dr. Sylvia can attest to, sometimes it's hard getting us men into getting seen unless something is wrong, terribly wrong. So just wanted to get that out there and get men healthier, because being healthy and being at a healthy weight is so important for nearly every aspect of our lives.
Oh, yeah, that is a powerful story. And one of the things I like about your story, too, and how we met each other when I was a resident, right, at GW. So I was in my training, you were working in the emergency room. And then I moved down to Richmond. Yeah, that's where I got into obesity medicine, became a coach, in addition to practicing obesity medicine. And when I came back, then Aaron noticed that, oh, you're doing something similar that I'm doing. And so we're like, oh, this is so cool. And we reconnected. And so it's been really awesome to just synergize with what you're doing with men and what I'm doing with women. And our stories are also similar too, because in addition to the professional passion for it, we both kind of have a personal connection to obesity or having weight issues. You mentioned online in your story that when you were going through working and being in PA school, you actually looked up and you had gained 20 pounds, which you didn't even realize, but it was like you were so busy in that season, you didn't even realize what was going on. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So straight from military PA school, which was pretty tough. Then the next step was to emergency department. And like so many other people, once we start working our careers and really start climbing that ladder, it's easy to neglect our health until you start noticing little things. And one day, one of my coworkers, she was trying to lose weight and she decided to step on a scale. And she was just like, oh, wow, I gained some weight. And I was like, you know what, let me step on the scale. It's been a while. And I've always been relatively fit. So I'm like, I'm probably still around the same, where I usually hover. I stepped on that scale. I was like, what? Almost like 25 pounds overweight. And I was like, so that's why my knees started hurting. That was a wake-up call for me, because being a healthcare provider, I know what comes with that extra weight. It's not just tight pants, it's the risk for diabetes and high cholesterol, heart disease. So from that point on, I just turned it around, got back into my military workout mindset.
Oh, wow. So see, so we both kind of had a similar epiphany, but our approach is a little bit different. But this is why it's good to be individualized to the person. So similar to you, like I mentioned, like I was a sugarholic. I can admit that, and so that's how I coped through med school, college, all my training, and even residency. And fortunately, I had the metabolism to keep up with that. But having my first child, my first pregnancy triggered my obesity genes, I say, and it's true. And so I gained 60 pounds with that pregnancy, as every woman in my family pretty much does. And I kept 40 pounds of that on afterwards for about 2 years because I was still using the same stress coping mechanisms, which was eating a lot of sugar, eating cheap pizza, and I was stressed and I was not sleeping. And all that was the perfect storm to make it really challenging to lose weight. And it really affected my confidence, not just like as a woman, like you said, with the clothing and things, but even as a clinician, being able to counsel my patients. And I'm not even following the same lifestyle because I'm a very honest person. And I just felt like a hypocrite. I'm like, I can't tell you to do this, and that's, they've done studies to show that physicians who have obesity and have a large BMI are less likely to diagnose and treat obesity. So it really, doing that self-reflection and working on ourselves is so important, because if not, we can contribute to the obesity epidemic just by not dealing with our own stuff. So I think that's really, and I lived that, I experienced that. So unlike you, who got into your military mode, I tried to get into my type A perfectionist mode, and within 1 week I had failed like miserably. Yeah, because I was like, nothing in my life had changed. My husband was commuting 4 hours a day. I was working 12 hours a day. Then with my 18-month-old son, who was very high needs, and then trying to exercise an hour a day, like do a boot camp video. I haven't even exercised in 2 years. I had, recurring from C-section. Like it's just like too much. And then trying to stop eating sugar, which was my stress coping without dealing with the stress. So it was the perfect storm for none of that type A plan working out. And what I
Oh no, sorry. What I was gonna say, a big part of that perfect storm was the stress too, because as we know, stress increases cortisol levels, which causes that vicious cycle of craving those foods and then putting on that weight. Wow.
Yeah, it was. So I lived all of that. And then, and what I really found was, for me to make a lasting positive change, I needed to come from a place of self-love and positivity. And I needed to stop trying to bully my body into losing weight, or bully myself into losing weight. Like, oh, you can't fit your clothes. You don't look good. You never can do this. How'd you let this happen? All that stuff, I had to reframe it and say, I'm doing the best I can. I love myself enough to make this change. And I started making small changes. I dealt with the stress. I dealt with it, and I did that primarily through exercise, my running stuff. I started running. I don't want, everyone may not become a marathon runner, but you can at least start, and you never know where it will lead to do. And that really helped to transform my whole relationship with food, using it for fuel instead of using it for comfort, and learning to prioritize myself. So I can really relate to what it is, but I think the approaches are different for different types of people. And we're going to be making some generalizations, of course, today, but everybody is different. I think that's what you and I can agree. Everyone's different, and we need to really approach it from a personal perspective. So let's jump into this. Well, let's talk about, what would you say is a shared barrier for weight loss between men and women when they're trying to lose weight and stay healthy?
I would have to say Chick-fil-A. Let me stop.
My kids would not be happy to hear that.
Chick-fil-A, man, waffle fries. No, but so a shared barrier, I would have to say, is just not having enough time. We're just so busy, our society, like we're always running around, always doing something. And it's like, not having that time, or buying into the illusion that we don't have enough time. I think that's something that we all share. There's always something to take to to take us away from going and working out or making
Yeah.
the right choices, just not having the time.
So many distractions. There's so many distractions out there. Totally. And I think also, as we kind of talked about IG Live, one of it is just proper diagnosis and management of obesity. So like we as healthcare clinicians, have to take some responsibility too about some of the misconceptions and mistruths that are out there about weight. So we talked about like our screening of obesity, for instance, the body mass index. I talk a lot about that on different platforms, but just the kind of gender biases that are there, the racial and ethnic biases, the age. And so really when we are trying to diagnose people and tell them they need to make a wellness change or need to make a weight change, we have to be aware of this as well too.
And sometimes they're diagnosed from their discharge paperwork. If their BMI is elevated, even if it's just 1 point above, you get a printout saying, "Dear patient, you are overweight. You need to do X, Y, and Z." Even if the clinician didn't have a discussion with that person, that's something that's very common in the healthcare system.
Yeah. And I think, you talk about time for just on the patient perspective or the personal perspective, but even professionally, both of us have worked in primary care before, and those time limitations that you have to deal with all these things, and then trying to then spend the time that it takes to make a meaningful intervention in weight and in wellness. It takes time, which is part of why both of us kind of have delved into the coaching field, because we want to spend that time with people and really help them get that meaningful transformation. So I think that's so key that you mentioned as well. So let's talk about what are 3 unique challenges that the men face when it comes to their healthy lifestyle and fitness.
So for guys, and I was talking about this earlier, as men, we're hardwired to be providers. Financially, taking care of our family and our loved ones, protecting the tribe. We have that built in us. We have it. That's just how we do. We hustle. We do what we need to do. Unfortunately, a lot of times that leads to us leaving our health in the rear view or in the back seat, because we're so busy trying to reach retirement or, buy this house or do what we need to, put food on the table, that we forget that, hey, in order for this to even work, you've got to be functional. You've got to be well. Your health has to be on par. The second thing I would have to say is our egos can get in the way sometimes. As men, we're proud. We're proud of our accomplishments. We're very goal-oriented, and we like the fact that we can take charge and handle business. That's something that makes us feel good. Sometimes that could be hard for us because, for instance, men going to go get regular checkups, regular physical examinations. A lot of men don't do that. In my experience as a healthcare provider, a lot of men come in when they have to, like either their spouse is saying, "Hey, you need to get that thing checked out," or an emergency setting, there's some type of accident or something. So the ego, unfortunately, can be hard for men, and that can translate to, "Oh, I don't need to lose weight. I'm okay." And then not wanting to take criticism also, that can get in the way. The last thing I'd have to say is just, it's the mindset. Everything comes down to the mindset and really taking a look at why your health is important. And that takes analyzing your own values. What means the most to you? Is it your family? Well, you need to be around for your family. Do you want to retire? Well, you need to be healthy, because even if you retire, what is your quality of life going to be when you retire? Is it legacy when you're passing down, for your children, grandchildren, or even if you don't have children, what will be your legacy on this earth when you leave? And your ability to have the best legacy possible is to be in the best health as possible.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I think last time on IG said, the 3 P's: provider, pride, and procrastination. And I also hear you coming on one of mine that I like is prioritization. So really being able to figure out what your motivation is, even with what for it. That's deep. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I feel like a lot of what you said resonates with women too. So when I think
Mhm.
about what are the three unique challenges for women, though, I say mine would be prioritization. So like whereas men are the
Mm.
providers, we tend to be the caregivers. And even though now a lot of women were working, we're also providing in the home, the studies show that we still carry the large bulk of the home, the caregiving role or the household duties. And so you're wearing like double hats and you're trying to fulfill those roles. And what happens? You're giving, 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 putting everyone above yourself, and
Mhm.
you are
So
last on the list.
very similar.
Yeah. So I think that that leads a lot of people, women, to not prioritize their health and their wellness because they're so busy caring and giving till there's none left for themselves. The other thing I would have to say for women I talked about was perfectionism, like really feeling like you have to do everything perfectly right. And that translates even to the weight and wellness. A lot of people tell me, hey, if I can't get 30 minutes in today of exercise or movement, then I'm not doing anything. Or if I'm not eating perfectly healthy, so no sugar, no fried foods, then I just might as well eat all of them.
All or nothing.
It's just all this all or none that feeds into the perfectionism and leads also to a lot of negative thinking when we talk about mindset also as well, because a lot of times perfectionism deals in criticism. So you're always self-criticizing and why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? And then the third thing, if we're following your theme with all of this, I would say along those lines is people pleasing, because the prioritization of other people, the perfectionism leads to this perfect storm where other people, you're worried about what everybody else is doing, what they're doing, comparing yourself to them, whether it be a certain body type or body aesthetic, or whether or not you're pleasing your boss, your spouse, whatever it is. So again, just leading to this thing where you don't have time to prioritize your weight and your wellness.
That's positive. Wow, that's powerful. And the thing is, everybody has the same 24 hours a day.
Mm,
And it comes down to your priorities. What's
mhm,
most important to you? You want to watch this Netflix marathon, or you want to improve your health? You know,
mhm,
these are, and it's all decisions. And in our society, we want the quick fix. We want
mhm.
everything like rapid, rapid, rapid. It takes a while to put on weight. It's going to take a while to take it off. You know,
It
and
should. You should not be up in those. People will go and do these detoxes, these pills, all these things, and they'll lose a dramatic amount of weight
right.
very easily, but it will come back on. Like we know from the Biggest Loser study, which
Yep.
is a key one, where people, we've seen the Biggest Loser, that show where you lose, contestants lost like hundreds of pounds within
Hmm.
a couple of months. And I say hundreds, but over 100 pounds for most people. And it really altered their metabolism. Their bodies gained weight back very quickly, and their body developed mechanisms to gain it back. So your body is made for equilibrium. So it needs time to adjust to any major change you make. So it's so important that you're not out here trying to lose weight rapidly, because it doesn't even match the physiology. And women will
Exactly.
lose slower than men. Women, we will, by and large, usually lose the weight slower than men, which we talked about last time.
Right, because of reproduction, things like that.
Mhm.
How
Hormones.
its body
Yeah.
needs to be prepared to be. It's and just like you said earlier, as far as how our bodies deal with weight and holding on to calories, because
Mhm.
our ancestors, you look back on the African plains, they may have gone days without eating sometimes. Our
Yeah.
bodies developed to hold on and store fat in
Mhm.
times of famine, or
Mhm.
times when you're not getting regular food. We
Mhm.
still have that in our DNA, but now we have access, unlimited access, 24-hour access to food,
Mhm.
which goes against us.
Exactly. So I'm with you. They're just so it's very complicated, and we really need to keep all of this in mind, the physiological part of it, so the biological part, and then also the mindset or the psychological part of it. So we don't want to leave people. We're about to wrap up. So we don't want to leave you guys without any hope.
Mhm.
So I think let's talk about what is the most powerful intervention that you think that a man can make today if they want to get their health and wellness on track.
Okay, so a couple of things. The first one is make a commitment to yourself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to understand why it's important to be down to a healthy weight. And I think once you get that, it's going to be easier for you to stick with it and experiment with healthier foods and try different workouts that may fit into your busy schedule. But you've got to make that commitment first because nobody else can do it for you. The
Absolutely.
second thing, and Dr. Sylvia, you may go into withdrawals, is got to cut the sugar out.
Oh yeah, I've done it. I've gone to do sugar cut. I've done it, eliminate sugar twice. I actually just did another one in January. So
Added sugar. Now, not all sugar is bad because,
yeah.
right, sugar from fruit, yes, it's sugar, but you're also getting vitamins, minerals, and other things that your body needs.
Mhm.
But sugar from, say, a can of Coca-Cola, that's bad. And just to illustrate, you know, one 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola, you've got about 10 to 12 teaspoons of sugar, which this is how much is in one can of soda. And some people drink 2 or 3 of them a day.
Wow.
That's going to increase your risk for weight gain and diabetes.
Yeah.
The last thing is, fellas, we have to move. Our bodies are designed for movement. Our ancestors, they couldn't go to Safeway or the supermarket to go get food. If they wanted a salad, they had to pick it themselves from the ground. If they wanted meat, they had to go hunt. We were very physical. And this is one of the big reasons why the obesity crisis is happening and elevating each year is because we don't move. So setting aside at least 30 minutes a day to do something, whether if you used to play basketball, just go shoot some hoops. I know we're in a pandemic, but there's still a lot of things you can do. Work out at home, go for a walk, get a jump rope, 30 minutes a day just to get that metabolism revved up. You can also lift weights to build your muscle mass. You could do so many things, but just picking something each day to do to stay active. That's what I would say.
Those are such great points. So really, you said make mindset. So making a commitment to yourself, and then the sugar. Absolutely, I've had patients lose with no exercise, no other intervention, just by cutting out sugar, cutting out soda. They have lost 7 to 20 pounds just by cutting out soda. So it can be a very dramatic change. And yes, there's so much added sugar because for January I did the Daniel fast where you can't have any added sugar, and you just be amazed. Ketchup, salad dressings. When you're trying to be healthy, your salad dressing has like 10 grams of added sugar.
Pasta sauce, like so many different things.
There's so many things. So I think those are very, very key things. And then moving, we are made to move. I love that you said that and reminded us of that. So yeah, I agree with all of that. And then I would say from the ladies' perspective, making yourself a priority, putting yourself on the to-do list. I've talked a lot about self-love, and people like, what's love got to do with it? And they think of it like this, like, touchy-feely, nebulous thing. No, but really it is the foundation, because so often, again, I talk about with that perfectionism, we're trying to bully ourselves into a positive change. But when you come at yourself from a place of love, you use positive motivation for the change. I love myself. I value myself enough to invest in my health, to make a time commitment to do what I need to do, to not eat that food. And it's not coming at a place like, oh, I hate this about myself, I don't want to do that, but really using that as positive motivation. So I think mindset and figuring out what your positive motivation is so important. And then prioritizing. It doesn't have to be perfect. Something is better than nothing. I always say 1 minute of movement a day is better than 0 minutes of exercise. So just trying to move your body, get out there and do something, even in little bits of time. So making those small changes. Hey, maybe I'm not ready to give up sugar completely, but can I cut out that candy bar at 3 p.m. every day and work on my stress
Little
management?
steps.
So small things, and stress. So really getting to the root of the stress. Are you putting too much on your plate? Are you not delegating to people? So really figuring out what can you do to decrease those stress levels. And so that's what I would definitely say.
I think we need to add something, since this is like a Valentine's Day couples kind of thing. So
Mhm.
for couples out there, you've heard about the different things that both men and women go through. Come together, work out together, hold each other accountable. First, hold
Yeah,
yourself accountable, but make it a challenge. Add a little something there that keeps each other on track. Because in relationships, it's easy to get complacent and just put your feet up together and enable your partner to do the same. Like, oh, if they're not working out, I'm gonna sit too. You eating that big bowl of ice cream, I'm gonna do that too.
mm,
So in the same way, challenge each other. And then if you have children, them seeing that's gonna set the foundation for a healthy legacy. And they can
absolutely.
hold you accountable too. So just work together.
And I mean, it is so important. And it's funny because we talked about Valentine's. There's so much we could talk about, because really the most critical time for weight gain in a couple is when they first get married. They pick up each other's, and the average amount of weight gain is about 15 pounds. So we talked about the freshman 15, but there's the newlywed 15 too. And definitely it can, if your spouse is more sedentary, you tend to pick up their habits as well too. So I think that's a great point. And that could be a whole nother talk. We'll do it, say, for another day, but just the dynamics within a spouse. Because I definitely get people who say, well, my spouse won't do this, they won't do that. And so
Right.
I have quick tips and tweaks of how to work around that. But at least as a start, if both of you are willing, it could be a good thing. But I want to point out that you need to be careful with competitions with your spouse, because remember, as we pointed out here, biologically, women are different, and we will lose weight at a slower rate because we're meant to hold it down. So just be mindful of that with the competition aspect of it, but definitely, holding each other accountable and being compassionate in it is a great way to promote that together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Erin, I'm so happy we have reconnected, and I
Same
love
here.
what you're doing. It's so inspiring, and men need it, because sometimes, I mean, I've been, as a female physician or female clinician, I've definitely had men not want to open up to me. I do have my guys that talk to me and will relate, but I feel a lot of the men, the Navy guys, y'all military men, you want to talk to a guy. So I'm
Tough
glad
shell.
work, so that you guys can work together and help them. So tell people how they can find you, or if they want to.
Definitely. So you can check out my website at www.trueguidehealth.com. Also on Facebook, Instagram at True Guide Health, and also have a YouTube channel, True Guide Health Consulting, where I have a lot of free videos that's geared towards, different topics for like healthy mindset, nutrition, fitness, free tips on how to live healthier for men and work around those busy schedules. Yep. So
Awesome. And I think the biggest resource that people want to start is they probably should just head over to your website, because there you have that video series, right? Of 4 simple steps.
yeah. So sign up for my newsletter and you'll get a free video tutorial that I created. It's called the 4 Simple Habits That Will Transform Your Weight. So some easy things that you can start doing now, start doing today, that will significantly transform your weight. One of them I talked about already was cutting the sugary drinks.
Mhm.
So check it out, and a lot of information there. And also have some services. I do private one-on-one coaching, but I also developed an online course that walks you through everything from starting off with the most important step, developing a mindset, shows you how to overcome procrastination, set solid goals, then go into the nutrition aspect and the fitness. So a lot of information there. You can check it out at my website.
Awesome. Yeah, which is true. Mhm.
www.trueguidehealth.com.
Okay, awesome. And so ladies, you can even send your boo, you can send him a love note. You put his email in for the newsletter. And he's like, how am I getting this? Where did this come from? So that way, that's a good gentle love note for your boo and help them with their health and wellness for. Now, for my ladies, for me, those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Sylvia Bollie. I'm your dual board certified obesity expert, healthy lifestyle champion, and a great listener with a passion for helping grown women get to their happy, healthy weight through self-love and personalized science. And I do that through my wellness-based program, Embrace You Weight and Wellness. And right now, we have the Embrace Self-Love Challenge, which is really helping you find practical, positive ways to establish wellness in your life, and so that you can get to your happy, healthy weight. So if you join my Facebook group, which is Embrace You to Lasting Wellness and Weight Loss, then you can get insider tips on it. I'll be posting some of the challenges here, but really the people in the group, they get some special content and we dig a little bit deeper. So join the group, Embrace You to Lasting Weight Loss and Wellness. So Aaron, thank you so much for
Thank you for having me.
Thank you everyone for watching. And I know some people will be catching this on the replay. Feel free to type your questions in the comments. We will get back to you. And we'll have to do this again. It was fun.
Of course. Yes,
right?
it was.
We'll make sure we have the technology right so that we can simulcast on both. But other than that, we'll have a good time.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, have a good one.
Thanks.